Hey guys, it's Danny. Alrighty, today we have a spotlight video on one of my favorite Vandas. Yes, she has easily become one of my favorites. The beautiful Vanda denisoniana, and my variety is Cream Shine Torn. This is one of those Vandas that I had on my wish list for ages, and I did purchase one in the past, but I'm not entirely sure what variety it is. It was mislabeled, it's pretty young. This is the one I just purchased about a month ago from an auction, and boy was it worth it. Alrighty, so let's get you in a little bit closer on the flowers while I talk more about this orchid. So it is a species native to China, Vietnam. It is a warm grower, so very suited for my climate, and it's very similar care-wise to all the other Vandas. It is, however, one of the most popular Vandas you can have, and for good reason, which I will get to. This species is not a miniature Vanda such as the Aridis species or the Rhynchostylis. It can get pretty large just like a normal Vanda orchid, and it takes up quite a lot of space. It has a big root system, so it's not one of those Vandas that will save you space. However, I think owning it is really worth it because the reason why this orchid is so special is the fragrance. And let me just talk about the fragrance now to get it out of the way because it is the main feature of this orchid. So yes, we are dealing here with a very fragrant Vanda orchid. And apart from the Rhynchorida's Bangkok Sunset, I really don't have any other fragrant Vanda, at least nothing that I've smelled. So this is such a premiere for me, since the Bangkok Sunset is not very powerful in its fragrance. This, on the other hand, it's so intense. Now, you might expect this orchid to smell during daytime. Well, guess what? It doesn't. It starts to release fragrance in late evening, it goes all through the night, and in the morning I can still feel her fragrance. However, in the first part of the day there is almost no fragrance from this orchid, but that's okay because, as I was saying, the intensity is just so overwhelming that my entire greenhouse is very heavily scented in late evening and in the nighttime. However, the fragrance is very pleasing and kind of refreshing. If you ever had night fragrant orchids, you might already know they go towards the soapy Brassavola type of fragrance, which is beautiful, don't get me wrong, but it's a little bit overused. All of my nighttime fragrant orchids, the ones that I smelled, are Brassavola crosses or Cattleya crosses. They all pretty much smell the same. This, on the other hand, does not, has nothing to do with Brassavola. To me, it smells like honeysuckle, but it's an improved version of that. Sometimes it smells more like honey, while other times it is a combination between honeysuckle and citrus flowers. The main tone of it is sweet floral, honey-like, honeysuckle-like, but it's really refreshing. It's not a sickening sweetness. And oh my, it's wonderful. It has become one of my favorite fragrances, one of my favorite Vandas and orchids in general, simply due to her smell. Because I have a specific variety, the flowers are a specific color. Now, first of all, they are very waxy and pretty sturdy. It's not a flimsy flower. Also, they're not big, they're quite tiny, and I almost did a boo-boo here. Let's make sure this Vanda's stable. So the flowers are kind of tiny, but they're just such a beautiful shape, very different from most other Vanda hybrids. The lip is also a really beautiful shape, and color-wise, mine is a sort of a yellow-greenish type of color, creamy, yes. But the most popular varieties of this orchid are pure yellow, golden yellow I might add, and also orange. Initially I wanted to buy the orange one, I bought it, it was mislabeled. As far as I understand, the other one is more white than anything. So you do have some variety, and if you manage to get the orange variety, that's amazing because just imagine the sepals and petals are orange while the lip is white, completely white. Such a beautiful contrast, and simply because I just love the fragrance so much, I have no issue in purchasing the orange variety as well. It's on my wish list. I don't mind having a sort of a duplicate for this species because more flowers equals more fragrance, and I cannot get enough of this fragrance. Flower spike is not short, and also it's not the type of Vanda that creates a multitude of flowers like the Aridis species or the Rhynchostylis species. So on mine I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 flowers. Maybe this orchid can produce a little bit more, but don't expect 20 flowers at one time. This is a typical blooming display for this orchid, a pretty longish flower spike with, let's say, maybe 7, 8, 10 flowers. So as I was saying, care-wise, she's just like a typical Vanda orchid, and I'll link you down below to my tutorial and other additional information that I might have shared with you along the way. It's not deciduous, it doesn't take a break during winter time, but because Vandas are warm growers, if your environment gets affected by winter time, gets colder, Vandas generally don't grow as fast. They tend not to bloom if the weather is very gloomy, but in no way does it mean you need to stop watering or not fertilize at all during winter time. This is not a dormancy or break type of orchid. It has continuous growth. So this has been the pretty Vanda denisoniana. I'm keeping this video a little bit shorter than usual, since this orchid doesn't have particularities you need to keep in mind, anything that I know of really, and we covered the main attraction, the fragrance. So I'll end it here, and I will insert the outro with the phone story today, so that we don't get this video way too long. Thank you so much for watching. Oh, and PS, this is a very popular orchid. You should be able to find it at orchid nurseries, multiple varieties of it actually. It's not super expensive if you don't buy a really big specimen. Price-wise, she shouldn't be more expensive than big Vandas in general, like the Pacharas. So there you go, it's not a collector's item, and I think everybody should have this Vanda. Beautiful smell, not finicky, pretty big sadly, but I think it's worth it. Alrighty, thank you so much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this, and you know the drill. If you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up. A share would be wonderful. Those are things that really help out my channel. And if you like to watch other orchid videos from me, simply subscribe to my channel. I post on a regular basis, and also turn on notifications so you never miss a video. And with that said, I'll see you all next time. Bye! Alrighty, now story time. The story of Dani and her gadgets. Well, first of all, you have to know that I'm not a very tech-savvy person. I don't go out and buy the latest tech because it's pretty. However, there are a number of 3 devices that I am absolutely connected to, and I'm not sure if I'm gonna survive without them. And this is my computer, my laptop, and my phone, the phone being the closest. Due to the various jobs that I have, including now YouTube, and due to constantly having to be in touch with people, the phone has always been something very important for me. So let me tell you how it all started. And paradoxically, it's quite fitting that I tell the story today. Today's the 14th of June, and it's the anniversary of me and my boyfriend. 7 years ago, I meet my boyfriend. And what do you know? He was not in the same country as me. He was quite far away. Now, ever since I can remember me being allowed to have a phone, I've always had Nokia phones. Oh, another thing, when I really like a brand, I tend to stay very loyal to that brand, and I don't really go off trying out new stuff unless I get really frustrated with that brand. So for around 10 years or so, I kept having various Nokia phones. I think I had 3 or 4 types of Nokias, one of which was changed not because I wanted to, but because it was stolen. Anyway, I was a hardcore Nokia fan, like I think many people were. And then I meet my boyfriend. Now, the last Nokia that I had was a jewel of a phone. It was really tiny, it was a slide, I was in love with it. However, it didn't have internet. So to maintain my relationship with my boyfriend, we had to text each other and send MMSs sometimes. And then one day my boyfriend suggests that I buy a smartphone, to which I reply, "What the heck is that?" And then he says, "Well, it's this phone with this big screen that you can touch, and it has internet and we can talk for free, or almost. Also, it can has emails." That sounds interesting. It sounds like something that might help us out and help me out in general. So I go to my mobile service provider and see what loyalty benefits I have, because yet again, I am a loyal person. And so my provider makes me a really nice plan for the very famous at the time iPhone 3GS, which I still own. So 7 years ago, I extended my plan 2 years and I bought this phone. And when I started to use this phone, I was bewildered, to say the least. Also, I was talking to my boyfriend almost for free. So I was ecstatic and I got hooked on smartphones. Because I was just so happy with all of these advantages, I didn't really see all the flaws this phone actually has. Now, I don't know how iPhones are these days, but back then, you could not do a lot of things with this phone. In the sense that you could not save attachments, you could not necessarily open all of these attachments. And storing anything on this phone was very hassling. You had to go through iTunes. Sometimes iTunes managed to jam my computer. I kind of got over all of these inconveniences. However, and yet again, I don't know how iPhones are these days, but back in the day, the more you updated an iPhone, the slower it got. So in about a year and a half, this phone got so incredibly slow, it was slower than my Nokia. Furthermore, battery life was not all that pretty either. So I thought, well, I think I might need to get another one. But after 1.5 years only, well, that's pretty suspicious. Well, after 1.5 years, actually, my brother gets an offer from his provider, yet again, because he was loyal, and he manages to get some iPhone 4s, that, by the way, I still have, at a very nice price, without actually extending my plan. So he gets one for himself, I get one for myself as well, and I retire the 3GS. Now, the iPhone 4, you guys, oh my god, I think about that phone and I get angry all over again. Oh my goodness, I think that phone was the worst phone I have ever owned. So I retired my 3GS and I was hopeful that the iPhone 4 had more benefits than the 3GS and it allowed me to work more on it. Do you think it was the case? No, it was not the case. And already people around me were starting to download actual email attachments and edit them and do stuff. Not to mention, they were setting up ringtones on their phone. Not to mention, they actually could store music and videos and everything on their phone. Just like that, they were just connecting them to their PCs and everything was fine. And so I decided to have a talk with Mr. iPhone 4. And I told him everything that bothered me. To which he replies, what, you want a downloads folder? Or you want to set up a ringtone just like that? Oh, don't tell me you want to save the media files you receive on emails. Oh, and also, you would like me not to open iTunes on your computer and go through all of that rocket science thing to just put something on me and changing the extension so I can understand what you want to put on me? Darling, what do you think I am? A PC? A laptop? A Windows device? Nuh-uh, ain't gonna happen. So from the get-go, I wasn't extremely happy with the iPhone because of all of these limitations that Apple at the time imposed on the phones. Now, at the time when I had this phone, I had a work laptop that I carried with me every day. And when I say laptop, I do not mean Ultrabook and whatever thin little laptops you have these days. Nah. That laptop was a bunch of bricks put together weighing around 3 kilograms or more. And I had to carry it with me every day. And I did not have a car. So there you go. Now, wouldn't it have been nice for my phone to just hold me a little bit? If I could just use it just slightly like I used my laptop, I would have been happy. But no, I could not do that. Another one of my expectations was for that phone to not get slow. Do you think it didn't get slow? No, it got very slow. After 6 months, already I felt it going slow. So I decided, alrighty then, no more updates, never evers. If I don't update my phone, some of these apps will not work anymore or they will glitch. Whatevers will I do? And to top it all off, the home button broke. After a few months since I purchased it. That was the cherry on the cake. Of course, I could have gotten it fixed for free, but did I do it? No. I did not want to see that phone anymore. I wanted it gone. Buried somewhere under 10 meters of dirt, just so it stays away from me. That's how much that phone frustrated me. So at the time, there was this ad with a Windows phone. So when I saw it, I thought, so if I have Windows on my laptop and I have Windows on my phone, then maybe the two worlds can collide and I can actually use my phone for working. And so I decide to talk to my boyfriend, which knows more about tech than me. And I tell him, honey, I think I want a Windows phone. To which he replies, oh, that's sweet. But you don't want a Windows phone, you want an Android phone. So I'm like, okay, whatever. As long as it does not have the letter I at the beginning of its name, I'm fine. So choose a phone for me and I'll go buy it. For my birthday, I think, my boyfriend buys me a new phone and he gets me the Samsung Galaxy S4. And oh boy, that phone changed my life. I had the freedom I was dreaming of with the iPhone. I could pretty much do anything with that phone, anything that I would want to do. I could work on it, I could download stuff on my phone or upload via my computer lightning fast in comparison to the iPhone, and without having to change extensions of actual files. It was also fast and, dare I say, quite dashing looking. That phone was like my savior, my absolute savior. And to this day, no matter how much I updated that phone and whatever I did to the phone, it did not slow down. And by the way, I still have that phone. It is 4 years old. Right now I don't have it because it's at my boyfriend. But oh my goodness, that was such a wonderful phone. I never looked back on Apple phones. No offense, you guys, I mean, Apple phones are really nice, they're just not for me. And so for the past 4 years, me and my little Samsung S4 were buddies. Now, me and technology kind of form a sort of a bond, because that phone represents more than a phone to me. It represents my work that sustains me, it represents my relationships. My relationship with my boyfriend was possible because of that phone, and now when I moved, my relationship with my parents, because I talk to them every day or almost every day still. We send each other pictures and all of that. That phone represents much more than a phone to me. So I do have a bond with it. And if it doesn't frustrate me and it actually helps me and it improves my life, then, you know, he's my buddy. And as I was saying, I still have that phone. Right now it's at my boyfriend's because lately it kind of started to crack down as well. It's an old phone, and with this new technology, you know, I get it. His little CPU is not that strong. His little RAM is kind of tiny for whatever apps and whatever requirements software has today, so I don't really blame him. But you know how it goes, even phones have to go sometimes. And for the past year, it did start to glitch out. Also, the screen is cracked, and you might have seen it in one of my videos, but it wasn't a big crack. I didn't mind it. I still, to this day, love that phone, and part of me is really sad to see him go. But that phone will never be thrown in the trash. As you might have noticed, none of my phones, no matter how much I hated them, they're not in the trash or sold. Currently, the iPhone 4 resides with my mom, and I told her never to upgrade it, never to install all sorts of apps. She just uses it for internet, email, and talking to me, and taking pictures and sending them to me, and she's happy, you know. So at the beginning of this year, me and my boyfriend were waiting for the OnePlus 5, actually. I secretly kind of wanted a Samsung because I'm loyal to the brand, and also ever since they came up with that Edge thing, oh boy, they're just so pretty. I kind of really wanted Samsungs, but they're not cheap. So we were thinking, you know what, let's get a cheaper phone. Let's think about the OnePlus. It's a great phone and it's cheap. So we were waiting for the OnePlus 5, and when it came out, it was wah-wah. It wasn't particularly beautiful in any way. What annoyed me was the image stabilization issue with its camera, because I really want to film on the go and include what I film in my videos. And to top it all off, it's not cheap. The OnePlus 5 is actually 500 something euros, so it's not a cheap phone. Put 200 or 300 more euros and you get a Samsung, right? So we go to the store, I see the S8, and it was like love at first sight. I touched that phone and I'm like, honey, I don't care when I'm gonna purchase this phone. I'm gonna wait until my birthday. I'll put money aside, we'll make a budget, whatever. I need this phone. This needs to be the replacement of my beloved S4. I don't want anything else. I want this one. So my boyfriend says, alrighty. And so I was already making the budgets to get a new phone in the autumn, in October. But as it just so happens, my boyfriend decided to surprise me for our anniversary. And behold, he got me the S8. And I'm just noticing I'm not holding him correctly. So, dear S8, your granddaddy, the S4, was my best ever companion. You must not let me down. So now for the connection with orchids. I told you yesterday that there is a sort of a vague connection. Well, it's the color. It's a sort of a purpley gray. You know how Samsung named it? Orchid Gray. I don't know why, but my boyfriend said when I saw the name of this color, I did not think twice. I got it for you. It's a sign. It's Orchid Gray. You're meant to have this phone, and I think so. I am really stoked with this phone. It works really nice, but as I was saying, when I buy tech, I don't mind splurging, and I don't mind putting money aside and getting something expensive because I form bonds with my gadgets, with these 3 gadgets that I told you about. Other stuff I don't. I don't mind not having other gadgets, but phone, laptop, and computer are the things that I need to survive. However, I am expecting this to last. If it can last 4 years like the S4, Mama's gonna be happy. If not, I'm not gonna be that happy, but most probably, you know, I won't regret having this phone. And yeah, hopefully he's gonna be productive. So thank you guys so much for bearing with me. I have to tell you, I love telling stories. I can blab on forever. So thank you for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this story. It has nothing to do with orchids, but maybe it does. If you enjoyed the story section, let me know. I might tell you some other things. Alrighty guys, I'll see you later. Bye.